In the 18th century, American politician and scientist Benjamin Franklin conducted a scary experiment, trying to attract lightning to a Leyden jar in order to understand the nature of electricity. Though actually, Franklin did not have to risk his life. The answer lied in his body all along. Looks familiar. Everyone probably felt a discharge like that at the most unexpected moment, coming from the most unexpected object, at least once in their life. I wouldn't be surprised if someone attributed such discharges to evil forces in the Middle Ages. But that's just static electricity, and it's always been around. Just like the atoms consist of smaller elements and nucleus made of protons and neutrons, as well as electrons that revolve around. Protons have a positive charge, electrons a negative one. Usually, an atom has the same number of positively and negatively charged particles, so it stays uncharged, but sometimes electrons leave their orbits and are attracted to other atoms. This is how the atom gets to positive or negative charge, which stays until it touches an atom with the opposite properties and uncharges. At this moment, a discharge of static electricity occurs. It might sound very complicated, but you can encounter static electricity everywhere. Drier air and synthetic woolen items only increase the likelihood of its occurrence. Do you want to subdue electricity for a few seconds? Shuffle your feet in woolen socks across the carpet, rub a balloon on your hair, or use a plastic comb. Stroke a fluffy pet. Well, if you touch another person after that, they'll get a shock. But be careful, it works both ways. Seriously though, can static electricity generate a strong enough discharge, not a tiny spark, but something serious like Thor style? Well, in this case, you'll have to rub something really big. Couple of giant dogs that the sky over New York might do. After all, lightning is also caused by static electricity. Tiny ice molecules move inside the cloud and constantly collide with each other. As a result, static charge builds up until a flash of lightning occurs, well, or something like that. But if lightning is static electricity, does it mean it can even kill a man when it comes to lightning? Certainly, but under normal conditions, such a discharge is usually harmless. Shuffling across the carpet with socks on can generate a charge of 10 to 25 millijoules, whereas it would take around 1,350 millijoules to kill a human. Of course, we're talking about healthy people without pacemakers, but I think you get the idea. It is okay to be cautious and wary of electricity, including static electricity. But here's a fact. Electricity is already inside our bodies. Yes, right now. Moreover, the cells of the human body are literally designed to conduct current. The nervous system needs electricity to send signals throughout the body and of the brain, allowing us to move, think, and sense. We are literally alive thanks to electricity, and it helps us every day. Here's another familiar situation. You reach for a hot kettle, but when you touch it, your hand jerks back. You haven't even actually felt the pain all because the body defends itself, unconsciously using the nervous system. The information about touching something hot doesn't even go through the brain. It'll take too long and wouldn't save the body from burns. That's why such decisions are made in the spinal cord instantly. But this is an emergency. In most cases, adults can realize that an object is hot, which means it's better not to touch it. No, seriously, don't check how quickly the spinal cord will react. Meanwhile, small kids are not yet experienced enough to understand how hot kettles and other dangerous things work, but nature has a plan for everything. You may have noticed, the bodies of kids recover from damage faster. When we're small, our bodies work in a special mode. Gene is activated to increase the chances of survival, and when a person becomes an adult, this mode turns off. Scientists have found the same mechanism in mice and have figured out how to turn the gene back on. Hold on. Does this mean we can control the way genes work? You bet we can. And I'm not talking about scientist interventions only in complex experiments. That's pretty obvious, but take at least the ability to roll the tongue. If you can do this, then you're among these 65 to 81% of people on Earth who have this skill. It's believed that more of them are women than men, and also that this is a simple genetic trait inherited from one of the parents. For a long time, scientists believe that if a person doesn't know how to roll his tongue, He'll never learn this skill. Turned out that constant practice allows people to do things they simply aren't expected to do. If you're determined enough, you can hack your genetic code. Perhaps you just thought, what's the point of rolling the tongue anyway? Well, there's no point or practical benefit to that. This is why scientists like to study this ability so much. While they're busy with their weird theories, you can go one step further and train your tongue to blow bubbles. I'll show you what it looks like. You can easily find detailed instructions yourself. And you may find this phrase in all sorts of motivational videos, but it turns out that anything is possible if you train hard enough, even changing your own face. Now let me tell you straight away, this technology is not entirely scientifically based, but many claim it works. It's pretty simple. When we do not use our tongue, it normally rests on the palate and our jaws are not together. However, some may find their tongue resting on their lower teeth or lower lip. In this position, the mouth can be slightly opened. The proponents of mewing believe these ruins the shape of the face. To avoid the consequences, they recommend pressing the tongue to the palate, keep the mouth closed, and make sure that the teeth at least touch. Moreover, you have to do it all the time. It's believed that until you hit 70, the sutures connecting the bones of the upper jaw with the rest of the skull have not yet become ossified, which means the shape of the face can be changed. Does it work? I haven't tried it yet. But if there's a chance to change your face by just closing your jaws and pressing your tongue to the palate, it all can change back before you turn 70. That sounds frustrating. Though this is just how the human body works, we've already lost what we acquired many times. You've probably heard about the mythical ability of opera singers to break glasses with the power of their voices. To do this, you need to be very loud. Speech usually stays at the 50 decibel level, the sound of a working lawnmower at about 100 decibels, and breaking a glass takes, well, definitely more than 100 decibels. In this case, the voice must resonate with the glass. Otherwise, nothing will happen. The singer also needs to sustain a certain note for at least 2 to 3 seconds to generate enough vibration to break the glass. The important thing is not to overdo it. The human pain threshold lies at 120 decimals. Though in the past, people may have been able to break dishes with their voices without harming themselves. Maybe even the ones made of clay, not glass. What? I wouldn't be surprised. Unlike animals, which can be very loud, we only use about 1% of our vocal capacity. That's because of complex sounds, all kinds of vowels and consonants. Birds do not have such problems. Scientists suggest that people used to be much louder in the past. Maybe we could even shout down some deer during the mating season. Let's be honest, all these technologies used by people and all that stuff that makes our lives comfortable and better have a great effect on our abilities. Anthropologists Peter McAllister claims that our very distant ancestors ran much faster, jumped higher, and were generally like real Olympic champions. Though there were no Olympic Games at that time yet. After studying the traces of ancient hunters who chased prey on the soft, muddy shore of a lake, McAllister realized they were running at a speed of 23 miles per hour. If the ancient people had the right shoes, they would easily accelerate to 28 miles per hour and even surpass Usain Bolt. And if our ancestors were actually training, modern people simply would not stand a chance. Unless, of course, you're Captain America.
I need a new set of lungs. Dude, you just ran like 13 miles in 30 minutes.
Today, since you can hack genes, why not hack this system too? You can run a marathon and withstand the toughest loads. If you get a second wind, as it usually happens, scientists are not 100% sure where the second wind comes from. Apparently, after getting exhausted, the body begins to utilize resources from alternative sources, such as fatty acids and protein. According to another theory, the exertion stimulates the production of endorphins, and the person suddenly starts feeling very well. In this state, you can achieve peak performance, even if you can barely stand on your feet. Some athletes argue that you can train your body to switch to second wind mode. After all, under certain conditions, we often discover we have unusual abilities. Sometimes they help us survive. During World War II, soldiers of the U.S. 101st Airborne Division fought for 3 days straight, almost without food and sleep. As a result, they blanked out and later could not remember the battles they fought. Lack of proper rest is a problem that occurs during any hostilities, but few people think about it. Meanwhile, sleep disorders, even in times of peace, lead to distracted attention. Can you imagine the consequences of that during a war? That's why the military has developed special techniques. One was used by the United States Army to help soldiers fall asleep in stressful situations in 2 minutes. It involves slow breathing, relaxing every muscle from the face to the feet, and then pausing for 10 seconds and clearing the mind. It is recommended to imagine you're on the shore of a lake, visualize a happy memory, or repeat the words. To not think. In general, it might work. I don't know about the battlefield, but this could also come in handy in real life. Share in the comments if it worked for you. See you later.